Well, it's ripening out there. So I made a little bit of progress today with the sod cutter, cutting out the edges of these beds and peeling up the grass. As you can see, I've got stakes. That's where the fruit trees are going to go. A couple of these rows I've already planted. Here's one row of mango trees. Here's a new row, and then there's another row of mango trees. These rows are spaced out. I'll show you. So the rows are 10 foot wide, and then there's a path 10 foot wide, row 10 foot wide, path 10 foot wide. So the trees are actually spaced on the rows on center. They're spaced 20 feet apart, and then the trees within the row are spaced 15 feet apart. So I'm gonna have, like I said, 10 foot wide beds, 10 foot wide paths. That gives me plenty of room to come through here with a golf cart or even a truck. There's my new truck. I'll show you here in a second. I did a little time lapse how I did these beds. I think it's the most efficient way for me to prep these out without a tractor, because I don't have a tractor. All I used was a little sod cutter, cut the edges, flipped over the sod, and then I ran, as you can see, I ran right down the middle, and I cut a double wide kind of a lane here. The reason I did that is because, like I did it before without having done this, and it was a lot more work. This time I went ahead and peeled the grass off, so when I go and make my mounds, it's going to be a lot easier to dig. I'm just going to dig like right here. I'm going to dig a pit and use that material right around my post there to make a mound. And I'm going to do that in between each post is going to be a pit, and then it's going to make a mound, pit, mound, pit, mound. And the idea is to keep my trees elevated. The pits are just going to be filled back in with wood chips, which I am fortunate enough to have a lot of. So this is just one step in the process. I'm not really interested in planting my fruit trees right away. I'm really just prepping beds. I'm going to wait until either A, I get my irrigation worked out, which I'm not that interested in the irrigation. I'd rather wait until plan B. Plan B is to wait for the rainy season and let nature do its thing. The mango trees over here in the back, if you can see them in the back, I have not watered them at all, 0 times. And they flower. The little one, I mean, they're little. Most of them, so half of them are flowered. Some of them are fruiting right now. I've actually taken off the fruit, except for one that's a bigger tree. I'm gonna leave a couple on there. I haven't done anything, and it's been dry as dry can be out here. Even when the rains have come through this area, I've been missed a couple times, so I've really been dry. You can see, I mean, this is dry, and the mangoes don't mind. The mangoes really don't mind, and that's mostly what I'm going to be planting in here. I'm going to be planting more mangoes. I am going to plant lychees and probably some jackfruit in this area. This is like a summer fruit section. I'm trying to section my areas. The front area is like a winter area. Most of that stuff generally fruits in the winter or the spring. This area is going to be summer and into the fall. And I'm just trying to block it out so that I don't have to constantly, if I'm going to go pick mangoes or something, you know, I don't have one mango tree over there and one mango tree over here. You know, I don't have time for that. I want to have at least a few together, or at least have them in clumps so I can go check on a clump. There's going to be other stuff interplanted. The mango trees are in now. I've already planted some squash and different things in the area around the trees. That some of them are starting to come up. I'm also going to be planting sugarcane along the edges. Another thing I'm going to do, I told you I had a 10 foot wide path here. What I'm going to do after these beds are completely finished, I'm actually going to turn these paths into nursery sections. They're 10 foot wide. They're about, I don't know, 50 feet long or something. Temporarily I'm gonna put the landscape fabric down and put pots out here and grow out bamboo and my coconuts and different things that are ready to be in full sun. Most of my nursery over there is in the shade, so I kind of need to pull some things out. And this is a good area that I can keep things organized. Everything's in straight lines. I can keep in my mind where things are, and I won't have to constantly be looking for things. So that's the plan. I'm going to kind of, I'm going to use that temporarily, and then as the farm develops, eventually I'm going to pull that stuff out. The grass will all be dead. I'll plant something else into it and do a full ground cover and kind of close in this whole block. Right now it looks like a row crop. It's actually more of a honeycomb pattern because I have my trees, the rows, they're in rows, but they're staggered rows. I don't know if you can tell that just from looking at the stakes, but they're staggered. So really, if you look at it from above, it's more of like a honeycomb pattern or like a diamond pattern. But yeah, anyway, after the nursery comes out of there, maybe a couple years from now, if you can imagine it, the whole thing will be ground covered in. Hopefully the grass will have died down in between, because that's my main thing, is I'm concerned with grass coming up. That's why I'm sod cutting my edges. That's why I'm mulching so heavy, because I really do not want to deal with it. I want to prepare a bed and hopefully move on and develop another area and keep it as low maintenance as possible. I accept that there's going to be weeds. I accept that there's going to be unforeseen circumstances, but I'm trying to mitigate whatever I can and make this manageable for myself or for whoever else ends up helping me with this in the future. Right now it's myself, and I have occasional help. As this goes on and on, I'm probably going to need help. But for now, I'm thinking about how can I manage it myself, and I'm planning around that limitation. But anyway, this gives you an idea of what you can do. If you don't have a tractor, you can use a sod cutter. You can make nice pretty rows. I use string lines to make my nice straight lines. Obviously you don't have to use straight lines. That's just what I've chosen to do here in this area. Anyway, I'll show you that time lapse of flipping the sod, and hope you enjoy that. And that's what's ripening.